Hey guys, this is the Infernoman, and we do budget, jank, fun, and Magic the Gathering Arena. Now, before we get into it, if you like the content that I put out there, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit me up with a like, or even better, subscribe to me. It really does show people that they care about what I do. If you have any questions, comments, stuff you'd like to see discussed, or if you want to talk to me directly, you can @ me on Twitter or chat directly with me, as I do stream 2 to 3 times a week on Twitch. Sometimes it's Magic, sometimes it's other games. Either way, a visual link for those are going to be up on the screen right now, and I will have direct links in the details below. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get into this deck tech. And for today's deck tech, we're talking about Selesnya Auras. This deck uses only 8 rares and no mythics. We're looking to assemble a giant creature or two that's nearly impossible to beat. Unlike the mono green mutate deck we just covered, this one uses auras and enchantments as a means to draw cards and grow a creature. Now, as always, here's how we'll break this down. First, we'll cover the creatures in the deck, then we will cover the non-creature spells, the land base if applicable, the sideboard. We'll have a match with Sparky to give you an idea of what the deck is trying to do, and at the end, if you like this deck, a way to upgrade it. Now that we know the game plan, let's do this. To begin with our creatures, this deck only runs 12 of them. It's a low amount, but they all have an important purpose. With our 1-drop, Elset of Life's Bounty, 1 mana, enchantment creature Nymph, 1/1, lifelink. For 1 mana, you can sacrifice the Elset of Life's Bounty. Target creature or enchantment you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Its typing helps off trigger the Setescent Champion, which we will just cover in a moment, but it's mainly here as a protection piece for our other cards. In the 2-drop slot, we have Paradise Druid. Elf Druid, 2/1 for 2 mana. Paradise Druid has hexproof as long as it's untapped. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. I've talked about this card before, and like the last time I mentioned it, the reason why we're using it is because of its hexproof ability. And then finally in the 3-drop slot, Setescent Champion, 3 mana, 1/3 human warrior with Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Setescent Champion and draw a card. This is our only set of rares in the main deck that we're using, but you'll see why it's all we need. This card makes itself large with each enchantment we drop, but more importantly, it's a card draw engine. The note I do want to make before we move on to the next part is make sure that you have at least one of your creatures in your opening hand. Ideally, it should be the Paradise Druid or the Setescent Champion. If you do not have those, your deck is going to struggle trying to do anything. I just wanted to make that note right now before we continue. Now for the actual meat of the deck. We have 28 non-creature spells. Settle in, this might take a little bit. To begin, Karametra's Blessing, 1 mana, instant speed. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's an enchanted creature or enchantment creature, it also gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Now all that we build will mean absolutely nothing if we have no way to protect it. This card protects our game plan so long as our creatures have an enchantment on them. But you make sure to use this only when you really need to save something. Cartouche of Solidarity, 1 mana, enchantment, Aura, Cartouche, enchant creature you control. When the Cartouche enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with Vigilance. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and first strike. I have mentioned before how awesome this card is in the mono white Ascend deck, and I'll say it again, it's great. There's a reason why we use it, so we have it here. Sentinel's Eyes, 1 mana, enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has Vigilance. You can escape it by exiling 2 other cards from your graveyard. Vigilance is actually very important to our plan because we only have 12 creatures, and if we swing for damage, we don't want to be vulnerable on the backswing. The escapability is just a sweet bonus on it. Sixth Sense, 1 mana, aura enchantment, enchant creature. The enchanted creature has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. It doesn't hurt to increase our chances of drawing cards, so this helps us out with the engine pieces. Angelic Gift and Setescent Training. We'll talk about both of them at the same time. Angelic Gift is a 2 mana aura enchantment that when the enchantment enters the battlefield, you draw a card. The enchanted creature has flying. As for Setescent Training, it's also a 2 mana aura enchantment, and when it also enters the battlefield, you draw a card. The enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has trample. Both cards provide card draw and some evasion to help us push through damage, but since their abilities have become a bit redundant, that's why we only are using 2 of each in the deck. Sentinel's Mark, 2 mana, aura enchantment with flash. Enchanted creature gets +1/+2 and has Vigilance. An addendum. When Sentinel's Mark enters the battlefield, if you cast it during your main phase, enchanted creature gains lifelink until end of turn. It's a nice quick way to add Vigilance to a creature, but if we cast it on our main phase, the lifelink will actually really be helpful if we're low on life. Warbriar Blessing, 2 mana aura enchantment. When the blessing enters the battlefield, Enchanted creature fights up to one target creature you don't control. The enchanted creature gets +0/+2. It's only here because it gives our creature some defense and can fight one creature to clear out a pesky blocker that's stopping our game plan. Please note, however, if you look at it, you cannot decline the fight part. So make sure you are putting this on when it's appropriate. You don't want to put this on and say have to fight a death touch creature. All that glitters. 2 mana aura enchantment. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. This is our payoff for all of our enchantments. Save it for when you know you can put it down without it getting destroyed or getting it countered. And finally, the last of our enchantments, Season of Growth. A 2 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. Ah yeah, now this is the main engine piece. Everything we will play will trigger this off. So remember when I said that you want to have a creature in your hand? This is the reason why. If you can get this in your opening hand and a creature, you will go off very quickly with everything. Okay, now that we've gone through all the enchantments, finally, sorry, that took a little bit. Let's go ahead and cover the lands. As far as your land base is concerned, 20 lands in the deck total, 6 forests, 6 plains, and 8 tap lands in the form of Blossoming Sands and Selesnya Guildgates. I mean, again, we're a budget deck, so that's why we're doing this. Now, this may look meh, but if we can go off, the tap lands actually won't hurt you all that much. All right, that's it for lands, literally. That's all I got for you guys. All right, let's move on to the next part. Sideboard time. Now, again, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to say it one more time. It probably obviously won't be the last time. Please make sure to adjust your sideboard based on what the current meta is. And here is currently what I feel is going to be best for us. Starting with Shadow Spear. 1 copy of this legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has trample and lifelink. You may pay 1, impermanence your opponent controls, lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Equip for 2. This gives us a way to handle the burn decks, and its second ability can help us fight mirror matches with enemy enchantment decks using hexproof and indestructible as their form of protection. Speaking of protection, Apostle of Purifying Light. 2 mana for a 2/1 human cleric. Protection from black. Pay 2 mana to exile a target card from a graveyard. I've talked about this card before. It's our graveyard hate of choice, and it has its own form of protection, basically protecting from black. If you manage to fight a mono black deck, ooh, this is going to be hilarious to pull in. Baffling End and Banishing Light. We'll talk about these two actually together. First off, Baffling End, an enchantment for 2 mana. When Baffling End enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls with a converted mana cost of 3 or less. When Baffling End leaves the battlefield, target opponent creates a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. As far as Banishing Light is concerned, it is a 3 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until Banishing Light leaves the battlefield. Both of these cards are our only form of removal, but this deck honestly is not focused on hard removal, as too many of these cards will weaken the deck's main game plan, so only sideboard these in when there is a threat that really is just too big to ignore. Destiny Spinner. 2 mana for a 2/3 enchantment creature human. Creatures and enchantment spells you control cannot be countered. You may pay 4 mana. Target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature with trample and haste until end of turn, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still a land. This card helps us out by being able to fight against the control counterspell decks. You may never know when you need the second ability. You're probably never going to need it, but it is nice to have in case if you really need it in a pinch. And finally, Leyline of Sanctity. A 4 mana enchantment. If Leyline of Sanctity is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. You have hexproof. This honestly is going to be hilarious to bring in versus the discard, burn, and sacrifice decks. You probably have seen it already. There's a ton of Thoughtseize out there in the format. So putting this out on the opening will make sure that they can't throw your cards away. You can't have burn spells go to your face. And also, say like you put this out with, say, something like, oh, I don't know, that Paradise Druid, and they're going to have a really hard time targeting anything we're doing. But that's basically all we have for you. All right, you guys know what my favorite part of this is. Oh yeah, we're sparring with Sparky, and we're going to show you a demo of the deck. Okay, here we go again. Selesnya Auras versus the oh-so powerful Sparky. Let's see how this actually works. All right, remember what I was telling you guys? You want to make sure you actually have a creature in hand or one of your engine pieces, and we don't have either of those here, so we got the mulligan. It's going to happen a couple times. All right, in this case, we do have the engine piece. We have a creature. We're keeping this. We won't need both engine pieces for now. We should be fine with one, so drop off one Season of Growth. It'd be sweet if we had both, but this will do. All right, forest down. Sparky, your go. They putting down some creatures? Yep, they are. Okay, so we're not doing too bad here. We can afford to take the turn off. We got to make sure we get that season of growth in. We want to get the most value out of that. But there are going to be times where you're going to want to put in your creature first before the season of growth. Of course, for demonstration purposes, we're trying to show you the most ideal setup here. So let's go ahead. Paradise Druid. Triggering off season of growth. We get the scry. All right. We're actually going to keep that one. In turn. It is, a Baloth. They swinging? Yep, Sparky swinging. They know they can take advantage of this right now. Okay, so we're actually going to take one more turn off to get another season of growth. We're going to be a little greedy in this one. And pass. Sentinel's Mark can actually save us if we need to flash this in and then take out a creature. This is also the reason why, as you just saw right now with the Affectionate Ear Drink, is it? I can't pronounce that. Has noticed how Hera was supposed to fight a target creature. Thanks to Hexproof, Sparky can't hit our Paradise Druid. Let's see. Do we want to do this now? Let's actually do it now. We're going to block here because there's nothing else they can really do. Karametra's Blessing. Normally you don't want to do it this way, but I want to start triggering off our season of growth. We need to get some more lands. Not a land. There's a land. And we can take out at least one creature to slow this down. Okay, we actually have an untapped land, which is good. Forest. Okay. Here's how we want to do this. Sentinel's Mark first. Triggering off both Season of Growth. Draw those cards. There we go. And a Karametra's Blessing again. Ooh. Ooh. All that glitters. Let's put that on. Yeah. There you go. That's what you guys want to do with the deck. And 2 Setessan Champions. Okay. Well, we're looking a lot better now. Down to 13, Sparky. And we're back up to 19. If we have to, we can also now Karametra's Blessing. We would lose Hexproof temporarily here, but we'll have also Indestructible here. So this is also one of those things you can do. Let's destroy the Baloth. We actually don't even need to Karametra's Blessing here. It's tempting to do it, but we're going to keep it. Okay. So, Setessan Champion. Scry. Alright, it's a land. And here's how we can make it go off. How do we do it? Okay, Elsid. There you go. Season of Growth. Well, we already scryed. This is probably where you want to readjust your triggers manually, so we should have done that, but that's okay. Again, this is just demonstration purposes. Is there anything else we can really play right now? Not really, so actually we'll put down the Guild Gate. Paradise Druid swinging. Can't be targeted by anything, so we just get in free hits. There you go, down to 5. Alright. So, Sparky, you got any way of getting out of this? I don't think they do. Rabid Bite. Okay. Fortunately, we can Karametra's Blessing. And this also triggers off again. There you go. More card draw. Pfft. No way, Sparky. No way. We'll block here. Even if it dies, it wouldn't matter. We've still got this totally won. Okay. So, how do we do this? Let's just go off as crazy as we can, just for demonstration purposes. Just want to show you guys what we're doing here. All right. Draw those cards. Ooh, another All That Glitters. That's going to be massive. More card draw. More card draw. Oh, we definitely want more card draw here. Angelic Gift on Elsid. Because why not? Okay, so I'm pretty sure you guys have already figured out. Once you can get that engine going off, you just keep going. Elsid. More card draw. A cartouche, sure, why not? We won't be able to cast it, but it's not really a big deal. 6 cents. Why not? Let's put it on our Elsid, because we can. You're going to have so much card draw when this goes off. Just be mindful, of course, like before. You don't want to deck yourself out, so just be careful about that. And do we want to do it? Yeah, why not? We actually don't even need this. We don't even need Paradise Druid to win. We're just right now in win more stage. All the scrying. All the card draw. Woo! Okay, let's just swing in and finish this off. Sorry, Sparky. I know we were just showing off, but there you go, guys. Selesnya Auras. Cheap, easy, and yeah, it was pretty fun. You got a lot of card draw there. Okay, let's talk upgrades. Now, as far as upgrades to the deck, you kind of have a couple options. First off, if you want to stay in green and white, this is mostly where I'm going to be talking about. But there is going to be something else I will talk about in just a moment if you want to go into other colors or just consider rearranging the deck. But if you do stay in these colors, I know you're going to hear me say this many times, and it is true. Upgrade your mana base first off. If you want to stay with this deck, at least if nothing else, upgrading your mana base means that these cards will be useful to you in other locations. That's all I got for you guys. Anyways, for the more fun cards, if you want to upgrade it, is Rampage of the Clans. First off, this is a 4 mana instant speed. Destroy all artifacts and enchantments. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller creates a 3/3 green centaur creature token. Now you may be wondering, why would we want to blow up our own enchantments? Why would we destroy our own game plan? There's actually going to be times where you might have some decks that are going to try to force you to sacrifice a creature, and that totally destroys your game plan. Well, bringing this in from the sideboard, you then actually can then turn around a bad situation into a hilariously fun one. Imagine right now, you then lose that Paradise Druid. You now just lost all those auras and enchantments. Instead of losing them, you can blow them up while the trigger's on the stack, and then turn all of them now into creatures, which can then help you just go wide and push through the final bits of damage if you're close to finishing the game. On the other hand, you can also use Archon of Sun's Grace, 4 mana 3/4 Archon, with flying and lifelink. Pegasus creatures you control have lifelink. It has Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. Both cards actually are not bad in the sideboard if you want to try to go wide, but that's honestly what I have for you if you want to have some fun with the deck. If you want to be a little bit more on the competitive side, then you're going to have to go with Core Spirit Dancer and Saram Senior Edificier. Keep in mind though, both of these cards, if you put in any one of them, this is now where you're probably going to have to start asking yourself, if you want to go more competitive, this is also where you may have to actually just drop the green together, and you actually could go just mono white and go with that style of deck. Those decks tend to be more competitive out there. You could go also black as well, but that becomes a whole nother deck. Of course, these are just mostly the options to upgrade the deck that we're talking about, but if you do want to go with one or the other here, that's up to you guys. Some people have argued that Core Spirit Dancer is actually better than Setessan Champion, and also you wouldn't be wasting wildcards if you choose to pick the Spirit Dancer over the Setessan Champion. But I'm going to leave that up to you guys out there for a couple reasons. Keep in mind that the Core Spirit Dancer does get bigger faster than Setessan Champion. However, if it loses auras, it doesn't get bigger. Also, it's much more weaker to many removal options out there. Whereas the Setessan Champion, believe it or not, that extra mana, you have to pay for it. Whereas 3 versus 2 here means that there's more likely a chance that the Setessan Champion will survive because it has to have more specific removal to take it out versus, say, either this or the Saram. So that's just food for thought. There's no wrong way to do it. If you want to put these in instead of Setessan Champion, your choice. If you prefer to do it based on the deck we just showed you, also your choice. This is why I always try to give you guys options. I never try to tell you guys exactly how you should run the deck. I just give you basically something fun to work with. But that's all I got for you guys. Well, actually, that's not all I got for you guys. And really quick, I'm just going to bring this up because I know someone out there is going to try to point it out. So if you do want to go with a competitive version of an Auras deck, here's a couple options for you guys. This is basically what you see on screen, which is the meta version of the Kazorius aggro. And what you're going to see right here is the Orzhov Auras version. Both of them are basically about the same. They're using very similar cards that we just mentioned already, but as you can see, it's going to be a lot more of an investment on your end if you actually want to go this route. Granted, this is for a more competitive style of deck, but again, your choice. Just throwing those out there for you. And that is Selesnya Auras. So, tell me what you think. Are you a fan of assembling creatures with auras like you're building the Megazord of all Megazords? I miss Power Rangers. Those were simpler times.
Sorry, anyways. Do you like to draw cards in fun ways? Are you actually a beginner player and does this look fun to you in any way? Just let me know in the comments below, and I would love to hear from all of you. But aside from that, thanks again for watching, guys. Now be sure to like and subscribe if I helped you out, or at least entertained you. And until next time, remember when in doubt, be sure to jank 'em out. Later!